Girl has a heart attack and collapses on the spot after doing something intimate with her boyfriend for the first time. Subsequently, after a doctor's examination, the girl's heart was in severe failure. If she did not have a transplant immediately, she would not have lasted a single night. In the meantime, another girl, Bella, was electrocuted in her bathtub and died. When Bella was brought to the hospital, her organs were burnt and necrotic, but her heart was still alive and kicking. What's even stranger is that not only was the heart a perfect match for the girl, even the other patients waiting for a replacement volunteered to give the girl the chance. So, by coincidence, Annie eventually survived with Bella's heart, and from that day onwards, another soul took up residence in her body. After a year of transition, Annie became fully accustomed to Bella's heart. That day Bella's wealthy father appeared, and he invited her to his home. Considering that she owed her life to his daughter, Annie was too embarrassed to refuse him. But at night she dreamed that Bella was lying beside her, looking at her with a smile on her face, with her heart beating so hard. Terrified, Annie couldn't say a word. The next day Annie and her uncle were driving off. A woman suddenly stopped them. She slipped the mask to Annie and told her not to let her inside you. Annie saw a piece of exorcism tourmaline inside the mask. She was confused for a moment. She didn't understand what the woman was trying to say. After arriving at the rich man's house, Bella's mother, Jessie, didn't take the slightest exception. She embraced Annie straight away. During dinner, the couple also acted as if they were checking their accounts. They kept asking what she and Bella had in common. Jessie looked at her as if she were her own daughter. It made Annie's skin crawl. Then, the rich man offered to set up a foundation in Bella's name to send Annie to the best local school, and they would pay for her tuition and expenses. For Annie, who had grown up without a father or mother and had been raised by her uncle, this was a real opportunity. So before she could refuse, her uncle agreed for her. At night, Annie came into the living room looking for a drink of water. As she passed the family portrait, she overheard that Bella had turned out to be herself. Annie stopped in her tracks, and the picture was back to normal. Could this be an illusion? Annie sneaks into Bella's room. She wanted to find out what kind of person she was, and by mistake, she discovers a camera hidden in the base of the trophy, spying on Bella's every move. For a moment, Annie thought about it. Then she had a dream. A strange man calls her Bella, but the woman in his arms is actually herself. Annie wakes up with a start. She is haunted by these events for the rest of the night, and when she transfers to the school where Bella was born, the weirdness grows. Mary, a fellow student, gave her an enthusiastic tour of the school. She said it had all the recreational facilities. There was a special lounge for the sleepy. The meal cards were unlimited. Who had never been a fan of chips, was told. She bought a whole bunch of them without a second thought. And then, in the course of a casual conversation, Annie also learns for the first time how Bella died. This confused her even more. As a rule, the death of her body would have resulted in a burnt organ that could not be transplanted, but Bella's heart was safe and sound. Annie returns home with her doubts. As she was about to remove her makeup, she found herself in Bella's form. A series of strange events makes it impossible for Annie to concentrate on her studies. Despite this, having never studied calculus before, she got a perfect score on her first test. She even beat a member of the varsity team with her left hand in response to Mary's praise, and herself was a bit confused because she's actually right-handed. At that moment Bella's brother Alan appeared. Alan was accompanied by his friend and took a closer look. He was the man of her dreams. She didn't expect to meet him here, so she excused herself and left. During the rest of her wanderings, Anne accidentally discovered that Bella had been captain of the fencing team and that she was left-handed. She looked hesitantly at her left hand, and just then, there was a strange mask on the faces of everyone in the group except Bella. But in a flash it was gone again, combined with what had just happened, and suddenly realized Bella's heart was changing the way she acted, and it seemed she had something to say to herself. To find out who was spying on Bella, she and her best friend went to Bella's house. The rich man is holding a memorial service. The house is full of family and friends. Annie is surrounded by them all at once. Apparently, they knew that Bella's heart was inside her. They were all over her. Seeing that Annie was surrounded, her clever best friend poured juice on her dress. Then they lied about going to clean up, which gave Annie access to Bella's room. But Annie was just about to pull out the probe when Jessie walks in too. She mistakenly thought Annie's dress was dirty. She didn't know how to clean it, so she took out Bella's favorite dress from before she died. She took it upon herself to put it over Annie's body. The dress fit perfectly, so Jessie, in her motherly mood, took a big hand. She gave Annie Bella's car. Annie wanted to refuse, but the couple didn't give it a chance. While the memorial service was being held, the girlfriends then turned on the surveillance video. They found a scar on the hand of the man who'd spied on Bella. Maybe if they found this person, Annie could find out why Bella really died. After the memorial service, she returned home with Bella's notes, but all the people in the house, except for Bella, had strange masks on their faces. One of the paintings, Bella appears to be performing some kind of mystical ritual. At that moment, her neckline suddenly began to contract. For a moment Annie couldn't breathe. She had to rip the dress with all her might. And just then, an eye emerged from a hole in the wall. The next day Annie came to school. She gave everyone a souvenir bracelet she had made. He wanted to find the mystery man with the scar on his wrist, but she searched for him but couldn't find him. Just as she was about to give up, the girl Lucy's scar caught her eye. You put the camera in Becky's room. After the conversation between the two was interrupted by the teacher, Annie then approached Jessie. She said she would pay for the dress she had broken. However, when Jessie opened it, the gaping hole that should have been torn was still intact. There was no sign of damage to the dress at all. Annie was completely confused. She couldn't tell if this was reality or an illusion. As she rushed to leave, Regal noticed the way she had tied the knot. It was a sailor's knot in the foot of a sail. Confused, Annie said she had never been to the beach, let alone learnt the knot. Both of them looked confused. After she leaves, the rich man looked up his daughter's old photographs. He found out that Bella was really good at the foil knot. At this point, the rich man's face was very mixed, but he couldn't continue to imagine. He had to get out his smudge stick and give himself a physiotherapy session. Then Annie went to Lucy's house. She found out from Lucy that Lucy and Bella were friends. One day her studies and sports had skyrocketed and she had become very irritable. Bella had locked Lucy in the sauna without warning. This resulted in a scar on her wrist. The reason Lucy installed the probe was to find out why her friend had hurt herself. It was then that the visions resurfaced. From Bella's point of view, Annie saw the image of Lucy being tortured. Her chest trembled with fear. She didn't look any further and turned away to the side of the road. At that moment, Lucy and Mary stepped out of their car. They gestured for Annie to follow them. They then led her into the shop. Once inside, however, Annie realized that it was still just her imagination. It's an aura photography shop. It uses special equipment to capture the energy around the body, even the soul. Curious, Annie took one too. But as soon as the picture was developed, the owner instantly turned pale. She cursed Annie as a demon. She threw her out without even taking her money. Annie was very confused. She told her uncle about the incident. After all, Indians are good at metaphysics. Maybe her uncle could help her, but he believed in science. Uncle turned around and took Annie straight to the hospital. After examining her, the doctor said that Annie was just having an anxiety attack. She should just take her medication and be fine. Because no one understood, Annie gradually became agitated. She hacked at her pet mouse involuntarily. After hiding in her room, she found the photo of herself, which was now switching back and forth with Bella. The photo then spontaneously burst into flames. Annie was so frightened that she couldn't stand it. But that's not all. When she looked in the mirror the next day, for a moment her pupils turned the same light blue as Bella's. Annie was terrified. She found her best friend and turned on the security camera. She soon discovered that on the day of Bella's death, she was dancing around the room in her nightgown. At some point, she had been dancing in Bella's room in the same nightgown. The two were so similar in their movements and mannerisms. Annie has no recollection of this. To find out the truth behind this, she broke the windshield wipers on purpose. Then she asked the rich man to help her fix it. Taking this opportunity, she sneaks into her room. She changed into her pajamas and began to shake her head in search of sensation. She saw that it wasn't working. She took off her pajamas and went into the bathroom. After turning on the tap, and sure enough, her surroundings returned to the day of the murder. When Annie was fully transformed into Bella, the scene goes to a minute before she was killed. Bella is about to take a shower, but then a dark figure emerges. Annie, who feels the same pain, is instantly distraught. Her wounds begin to bleed profusely. When she wakes up again, the rich man had taken her to the hospital. The doctors examined her. They said there was no rejection of the heart, so she would be discharged soon. Annie then told her best friend what had happened. She didn't think Bella had committed suicide. Instead, She was probably using hallucinations to tell herself that the killer was someone she knew. So after being discharged from hospital, Annie found Lucy. With her analysis, the two soon pinpointed Alan, because Alan was a recluse who had once gotten into a big fight with Bella after having a big game. So it was very likely that he'd had a drug attack and accidentally killed Bella. Back at the house, that's when Alan suddenly came looking for him too. Annie had the sense to fight back, and she almost sent her boyfriend away. It turns out it was just a hallucination. It was Bella's way of suggesting that Alan was the killer.